Job search. The hunt is on. Hi, I'm Wendela Whitcomb Marsh. You can call me Wendy. I cover the topic of job search in my book, Working While Autistic, Thrive in a Career You Love. It's the 5th book in the Adulting While Autistic series. This video you're watching is based on one of the chapters. So, the job search is the first step on your road to employment. I've got some tips that will help you become a VIP now, Jack. Yes, I do realize that sounds extremely silly, but if you know me at all, you know that I am not above a bit of whimsy. So let's begin. VIP stands for Volunteer, Intern, Portfolio or Resume. Now stands for Network, Online Search, Work Experience. And JACK stands for Job Fairs, Alumni, Cold Calls, and Know Someone. First, VIP. The V in VIP stands for Volunteer. When you start your job search, there will be challenges. Employers want someone with experience, but if they don't give you a job, how can you get experience? Well, if you volunteer in your chosen field, this will give you the experience you need. If you haven't done any volunteering work yet, well, there's no time like the present. Get out there and volunteer. It will give you confidence as you learn to navigate workplaces. It will also give you something to put on your resume. And who knows, you might meet someone who can give you a reference or help you get your foot in the door on your first paid job. Next, intern. The I in VIP stands for intern. If your chosen career field uses interns, this is a good place to start. Some internships are paid positions and others are unpaid. It's great if you can get paid while you learn, but don't turn down an unpaid internship if it's offered and you don't have something better going on. Employers learn what kind of a worker you are during an internship, and sometimes they hire their new employees from the intern pool. This is the perfect opportunity to make a good impression, especially if you're not as good in interviews as you are in the job. Finally, portfolio or resume. The P in VIP stands for portfolio or resume. Applicants who are not comfortable in an interview can shine a light on what they have done rather than how well they chat with the interview panel. If you've already demonstrated what you're capable of, either volunteering, interning, or in school, create a portfolio of your work or a resume that highlights your relevant experience. It's a great way to show rather than tell why they should hire you. Do not spend hundreds of dollars on a professional portfolio or resume. You can do it yourself with free online tutorials. Alter it slightly to fit what each employer wants. You don't want a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter resume that looks like every other one they've received. Personalize it and keep it focused. Your encyclopedic knowledge of tropical fish might help you get a job in an aquarium or a pet store, but not in a furniture store. You want them to see that you are the right person for their job, not just any job, their job. Once your portfolio or resume is finished, show it to a trusted mentor or friend first, someone who understands your field, and ask for honest and supportive constructive feedback. Reread it, polish it, and make it shine. Once it's as good as you can make it, send it out to prospective employers. After VIP comes Now, and we'll start with network, because the N in Now stands for network. Networking can be cringy. No one wants to feel manipulated or used, or that you're only interested in what they can do for you. And you probably don't want to be pushy and shove your business card at everyone. It feels forced and uncomfortable. Respect that feeling and don't network. At least not in the traditional way of marketing yourself to everyone you meet. Not every elevator ride has to have a pitch. Oh, don't get me wrong. You should definitely be prepared with an elevator pitch, a short, rehearsed sentence or two about what you do. But don't pitch it unless they ask. Maybe you have a box of business cards or a scannable card with a QR code, something that can send your information automatically to someone's phone if they ask. You don't have to tell everyone you meet about it, although a scannable QR code business card sounds very cool. If they ask, then you can hand them a card or offer to scan your information to them. If they don't ask, you're not required to offer. It's so easy to come across as pushy, which is the last thing you want. Even if you go to a business-related event where people are expected to mingle and network, it's okay to be a wallflower and talk to only a few people. You don't have to be a shark swimming through the room in search of potential prey. Da-dum, da-dum. Anyway, if you stay on the fringes and only talk to 2 or 3 people who are also on the edges, that's fine. Think quality, not quantity. You can even leave early and still count it as a success. You did a difficult thing and you should feel good about it. Next, online search. The O in now stands for online search. Is online one of your favorite ways to connect with the world? Then you are so ready for this. When you search online for potential employment opportunities, keep your online searches positive and upbeat. Don't get bogged down by all the fascinating rabbit holes that pop up to distract you. Stay focused. You don't have to use every form of social media. It won't all be consistent with your style. Many people use LinkedIn to look for jobs or Facebook. Wherever you go, you can find groups of people in your field that you can join online. Like and follow people you admire and want to learn from. Share blogs or posts that you find inspiring or helpful. There might be discussions where you can ask for advice, but be sure to follow the rules of the online group before you post. Many autistic people are far more comfortable and effective online than they are in person, so use that strength to your advantage. While you're researching jobs listings online, have an open mind. You may think you're unqualified for a particular job in your field, but don't let that stop you. If you meet most of the minimum requirements, go ahead and apply, even if you don't meet everything on the employer's wish list. You may not get that job, but you will have had more experience in applying and interviewing. And it may be that you are exactly the person they were looking for. They just didn't know it because they hadn't met you yet. Finally, work experience. The W in now stands for work experience. If you're a student, find out about the work experience programs in your school. Sign yourself up. Get the most you can from what they have to offer. Even if they assign you a part-time job that is not in your chosen field, it's okay. The experience you gain dealing with supervisors and coworkers will be helpful in any career. If you do a good job, be sure to ask your work experience employer and school contact person for letters of recommendation to add to your portfolio. If you're out of school, check out your state or county's vocational rehabilitation office for opportunities. Get an appointment with a voc counselor to talk about your career goals and to see what kinds of work experiences they might offer. Ask about special services for people with disabilities. Their goal is to connect people with jobs that match their skills, abilities, and interests. Let them help you. And the last stop on this train of whimsy is called Jack. The J in Jack stands for job fairs. Job fairs or career fairs can be a great opportunity, but as with many opportunities, it has its pros and cons. On the pro side, you can connect with many employers in one day, ask them questions, and learn about what their company has to offer. You can also meet them outside of an interview setting, which may be more relaxed. This is a good opportunity to leave your resume and business cards with many representatives. After all, that's what they're here for. On the con side, there may be crowds of other job seekers who all want to be seen and heard and make a good impression. If you don't do well in crowds, and if you dislike competition, especially with pushy people, you may not want to spend a lot of time there. However, if you at least show up, hand out a few resumes, and leave early if you need to for your own self-care, you will have taken a positive step. And who knows, that resume you left on someone's table may make it to the top of their pile, and they'll call you. Next, alumni. The A in Jack stands for alumni. If you or anyone in your family went to the same school as the person who will interview you, especially if it's you and not your second cousin once removed, mention the connection. You can usually find chief officers' alma maters on the company website. Now, this one is a long shot, but if you do happen to connect over shared college experiences, that conversation might help them remember you when they're making their decisions. Next, cold calls. The C in Jack stands for cold calls. This is the worst. Cold calls are no fun to receive or to make. Most of the time, avoid this one. Email exists for a reason. However, there may be a time when the best course of action is to pick up the phone and call, especially if they ask you to call them. Of course, if they asked, it's not really a cold call, is it? Most autistic people I know would rather not talk on the phone if they can avoid it. If you can't avoid it, plan a brief script of what you want to say. Write out bullet points so you can remember your ideas and you won't have to read the script verbatim. That can sound stuffy or less than natural. Before the call, use whatever relaxation strategies work for you, such as mindful breathing, stretching, a short watch out in nature, whatever helps you focus. And this is important. Plan to do something you enjoy right after the call to celebrate that you did a difficult thing. However it turns out, you did it, and that deserves a celebration. Finally, know someone. The K in Jack stands for know someone. Nice work if you can get it, right? But if you know someone who's in the field of your dreams, that's wonderful. Ask them for advice or if they know of any openings that you might be a good fit for. But don't drop their names without their permission. Gauge the closeness of your relationship before you approach them. You don't want to come across as a user who's only interested in what they can do for you. If the person you know is like your parents, you're in. They might be able to help you figure out who to approach and how. If the person you know is a good friend you see often, it's usually fine to ask them for help too, within reason. For instance, have you ever helped them move? Do you care for their pets when they're on vacation? Have you driven them to the airport? If so, now is the time to ask them for a return favor. On the other hand, if the person you know is a distant relative or someone you knew in school that you don't regularly keep up with, don't beg for favors. It's fine to ask for advice if you want, but don't ask them to put in a good word for their boss with you if you're not that close. Now, you can ask your previous bosses to write you letters of recommendation if you left on good terms. Get their permission before you put them on your list of references to be contacted. If your boss didn't even know your name, though, don't ask that one. But if you had a supervisor who appreciated your work, do ask them for a letter or to let them serve as a reference for you. It's not who you know, it's who knows you and will speak highly of you that counts. So that's it for my tips to become a VIP now, Jack. But don't just take advice from me. Listen to actually autistic people in the workforce, like Helena, an autistic woman who works with autistic children. She wrote, I searched for jobs frantically without a real plan when I needed money. But as I've gotten older, it's really important for me to take my time and make sure I will fit with the place. I will never go into customer service again. And Beth Watsky, a late diagnosed autistic writer and animal care provider. She wrote, have a CV or resume tailored to the job you're applying for. If I'm looking for a writing job, I use a CV about writing. And if I'm looking for an animal care job, I use a CV tailored to animal care. Suzanne is an autistic podcaster who also worked as a drive-through window greeter. She writes, don't just look for any job because you will get burned out if it's not a good fit. If you love sneakers, don't try to work in a bookstore. And if you love books, don't try to sell sneakers. Look at your key interests, passions, or hyper-focus and find companies that specialize in that. Well, thanks for listening. If you'd like to read the book that this was based on, Working While Autistic, Thrive in a Career You Love, it's written by me, Wendela Whitcomb Marsh. Just ask for it at your public library, your local independent bookstore, or if you want to buy it online, you can find a link on my website. Looking forward to next time. Bye.